Shalom. So today we're gonna look at curse, the curse of the last born. Right? Now, this is Genesis chapter 9, and we're gonna read 25. We're not gonna read through all the details, so we're just gonna go to the main point. Verse 25 says, "And he said," talking about Noah. Let me start from 24. He says, "And Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his younger son had done unto him." Now he said he woke from his wine. He was drunk, which is a sin, the drunkenness, of course. However, after you see the whole earth destroyed, what are you going to do? Imagine if one person dies, right? Usually you go drinking, you go smoking, you go do all these things to distract from all of that. Now imagine you witness everyone around you dying, right? So sometimes the drinking is necessary. In moderation, yes, but when you get so overwhelmed by these harsh things of reality, it can push you to just judge yourself, right? We saw it with Lot. When he saw 5 cities destroyed, he and his daughters thought that all the world was destroyed. That's why they got him drunk, did what they did, because they thought there was no other men on the earth, it was just the three of them. So these things do happen. However, back to this. It said Noah awoke from his wine and knew, right? No, whichever way he knew, whichever way it was revealed to him, he knew. And this has a lot of details, right? Because a lot of times we know things without people actually telling us, right? Whether it comes by revelation, by your vision, dreams, whichever way it comes to you, we have different parts of our nature that is connected to that supreme intelligence that speaks to us. Is that sometimes we just don't listen to it, or sometimes we just disregard it, or sometimes we don't want to believe it because it would go contrary to what we're actually thinking and feeling, or what we hold to be true, right? But that's something else. Now, verse 25 says, "And he said, Cursed be Canaan," right? Now, there's something important here, because Canaan had nothing to do with what took place here. It says, verse 22, "And Ham," verse 22 says, "And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his 2 brethren without." Had nothing to do with Canaan, right? Now, when we come back down here, listen what he says, verse 26. Verse 26 says, "And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant." Why did he curse Canaan? Let's go to verse 1. It says, this is Genesis chapter 9 and verse 1. "And God blessed Noah and his sons," talking about Ham, Shem, and Japheth. The Most High had already blessed Ham. Noah cannot go back and curse him, right? This is where also you get the saying, "Who the Most High bless, no man curse," right? Can they form weapon against you? Of course they can. Will they prevail? No, they won't. And when it comes back sevenfold, which I'll go into in another video. However, I'll just make the reference, right? We saw that, a taste of that, in Numbers chapter 22, when the king of the Moabites wanted to curse the children of Israel, right? We will discuss that in another place. But what I wanted to point out here is this. Noah had 3 sons. Let me just read this. This is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. it says Ham, the youngest son of Noah. So what you're seeing here is Ham was the last born of Noah. When you read the curse here, it says, and he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So Canaan was cursed. Canaan, let's go to Genesis chapter 10 and verse 6. It says, And the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Phut, and Canaan, right? And we know Phut was where the generations of the giants came back through. So they were before the flood, they came back after. The same people that were created in Genesis chapter 1, the same people came back after the flood, right? So Canaan, as we see here, was the last born of Ham. Ham was the last born of Noah. So that curse passed on. No, it's no different from today, right? A lot of us, we just live our life a certain way, and it's like we can't do anything. It's like it's always been fated, right? No, sometimes it's actually a curse. For example, you might have a grandfather who was a seer, right? He saw things. However, he's working from a certain spirit, whether it be serpents, mermaids, whatever spirit he's working with. When it's his time to go, he also has to make an offering, a sacrifice. That sacrifice also passes on to his last born. It can even be a daughter, right? So these things do happen, and this is why I use this example to show the connection with the last born of Ham to the last born of Noah and to the last born of Ham, which is Canaan. So curses do pass on this way, right? Just like usually when you deal with the blessings, they pass on to the firstborn, right? It's no different. Sometimes we don't really know what our grandparents were really engaging in. They might have done good work, great works, but according to what side? You have a right hand side of spirit, you have a left hand side of spirit, right? Just like we saw with Moses and the Egyptians. They were doing the same works. They were all working miracles, but there's a right hand side of spirit and there's a left hand side. Usually, the thing about the left hand side is it requires a sacrifice that this one does not require. On the left hand side, it's always like a trade. You can get all this, but you're gonna have to give this. And the greater the more successful the person becomes or want to become, it has to be equivalent to the sacrifice of his offering. So yes, you can sacrifice a bird, a goat, whatever, to do basic things, but if you want that real big thing, you have to sacrifice something that is more dear, something that is more valuable to you. And this is what people don't understand about human sacrifice. The closer that person is the stronger it is for an offering. So sacrificing a friend or cousin, that's sacrificing your child, your mother, your father. That's a whole different dimension, right? But All of this was just to say that yes, curses do work like this, and also it is showing you that it's not easy for you to curse someone who the Most High blesses, right? Once his covering is upon that person, you can attempt, but it will fail. It will not prosper. What happens is that it will give you the illusion that your works is prospering, but in the end, you will need a refund, right? So we get the concept, and we understand the sacrifice from the last barn to the last barn to the last barn, right? Shalom.